Christina and welcome to Red Bull Formation 2022. This is the third time the women have descended upon the mountains here in Virgin, Utah, and I can tell you already, everything is bigger and burlier than years in the past. In this coming week, we have got 12 of the best riders in the world. So to start with, let's meet a couple of them and see what bikes they brought out here to the desert. We've got a first-time contender here at Formation, Georgia Astil, with her super custom Da Vinci Wilson. Run us through this baby, it looks brand new.
Yeah, so this frame was a while in the process. I was meant to have it built up last year, but I was out with injury, so finally I get to ride it. 27.5 frame, so I have 29-inch Fox 40s or 49ers. 27.5 in the back. I'm running full air setup with all of the volume spacers that they fit. Flat pedals, some carbon bits, Freeride saddle. It's pretty dialed.
How did that custom paint job come around?
Yeah, so my buddies at Fresh Paints of Whistler helped me out with a cool design. Blue is my favorite color, I would say, and they just got creative with the Kashima color for the Da Vinci and Wilson logos, and then a little bit of blue marbling action, just to tie it all in.
So how have you kind of set this bike up different than what you're used to on the downhill scene or even enduro?
Yeah, definitely quite different for all of the disciplines that I do. So this one, the mullet setup is a little bit unique out here as well, but I don't change too much like with the cockpit. I keep grips, brakes pretty standard, other than the seat, and then the flat pedals, that's my big one. I'm always clipped in.
So we've got the full downhill setup on the tires, but tell us a little more about your wheel set and even what pressures you're riding out here in the desert.
Yeah, so I have always run race face Atlases front and back. They're quite bomb proof, so that's with vault hubs. So I'm about 15 to 20 psi in the fork and chalk more than I would be riding tech or bike park, and I would normally run 23, 27 for psi in the tires. Now I think I'm running 29, 31.
I notice you do run a decently high cockpit. There's a solid spacer under your stem there, but nearly flat bars. So tell us a little bit about that and how it suits you.
Yeah, so I'm still playing around because it is a 27.5 frame and I've mulleted it. So just to make it so I have enough travel in my fork, the spacers underneath are just to keep it so I have a full 200 mil travel. If I were to drop it, I'd lose a bunch and then I'd risk bottoming out. If I had higher rise bars, I'd be like way up here, chopper style. Yeah, so the flat bars just keep it down a bit.
Sweet as.
Yeah.
Well, these girls got to get going, get back up on the hill and dig. So thanks, Georgia, for your time. Have fun
Tina.
this week.
Thank you.
Joining us up right here, right now, we've got Robin Goobs in the house, and she's going to give us a little rundown on her SB 165. How you got this thing set up for Formation this week?
I've kind of set it up somewhere between like normally really stiff jump pressures and trail pressures. So I've gone like somewhere in the middle, just so we can get a bit of traction on the steep stuff and still keep it playful for the jumps.
Nice. And you were down at Darkfest. You were throwing some big tricks on those big ass jumps. So what have you done to this rig for Formation?
For Formation, I've put the tire pressures on 30 psi. They were on 45 for Darkfest. And then for suspension, I've lowered the pressures a little bit, kind of going for a bit of traction here as well as keeping it poppy and playful for the jump. So I've got 180 psi in the shock and 80 psi in the fork.
So what sort of compression and tokens are you running? I'm guessing a lot.
I've kind of got my compression just set in the middle for both high and low, and then tokens I've got 3 in the fork and 3 in the shock.
And you got here a couple days early, so you've been testing the dirt, hitting some jumps already. Do you feel like the bike's pretty set up and ready to go?
Yeah, bike's dialed. Like, I don't think I'm going to change anything. I'm not super picky when I set it up. I kind of just set it up, find something that works and just run it. Like, I don't get too into it, but I think how it is working good.
So you mentioned the lower PSI on the tires that you're going for to get a little more traction. Are you running inserts or tubes? What's your combo?
Just tubeless. I've got Envy wheels, which are pretty bulletproof, so I don't really feel the need to put anything in there for a bit extra.
Run us through your cockpit setup a little.
I've got MV M9 handlebars. They're 30mm rise and 740 wide. I've got a nuke-proof stem that's 40mm, so it's a bit shorter than I guess most people are running. And yeah, Shimano Saint brakes.
Boom, boom. Are you running the whole Shimano drivetrain, or what have you got in the back?
I've got some stuff going on in the drivetrain department. Actually, probably like one of the bits I get real excited about. I've got like 5 div cranks. Those things are 155 mils long.
Nice, going for the short crank.
Yeah, nice and short. MRP bash guard there, and then gone for single speed as well. So I've got like the SB1 single speed kit, just Freeride as.
Heck yes. What pedals are you running?
I've got Daily T-Mac pedals, probably the sickest I've had, like good platforms and heaps of grip, so
Nice.
kind of all I want to run.
Perfect. T-Mac, he knows a thing or two, so
Yeah.
big ups to that guy. Anything else you want to tell us about this super sick turked out bike here?
Oh, the sticker. Yeah, we got the Honk If You Freeride sticker, custom made by Brett Reeder, designed by Casey Brown. Pretty sick piece there.
Thanks, sis.
That's it.
Have a badass week here at
Sick.
Formation. We can't wait to see you throw down. Next up, joining us, we've got Harriet here, AKA Haz. We literally drug her off the hill right here at lunchtime so that she can tell us a bit more about your trek session.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the Trek Session Park 2022. Got the small size, so just keep it nice and short. And it's pretty much perfect free ride, bike park, all that kind of thing, which is all I really do. So it's pretty perfect.
Heck yeah. And so what makes this the park edition?
So with these ones, they're just a bit shorter, and obviously Trek does the high pivot for the downhill races, which I have as well, which is sick. It just like barrels through rock sections and rock gardens. But in terms of like getting the feet off and like being a bit more playful, like this works a lot better for that. Yeah, which is what I do like 99% of my time. So it's pretty sweet.
So going for the small, the park edition, what kind of wheels are you pairing up with that?
Yeah, so just 27.5, which is what I've pretty much always run, which I really like. I do consider mulleting it a little bit, but we haven't gone there yet, so maybe next year.
And tell us a little bit about the rubber you've chosen to run out here in the desert.
Yeah, so I've got the Kenda Hellcats on, the Hellcat Pros. They're pretty sick, and that's a new sort of style for me that I'm running, and we're testing out a few different ones, but really keen for that. And then they also do a bunch of stuff for the little bike. So
What sort of compounds are you running out here? Because you've got the rocks and the sand and the dust.
yeah, so I feel like here you've got to have enough grip to slow yourself down in certain parts, but it's also that loose stuff where you kind of want it a bit soft. So it's good, like kind of in between, and I feel like more pressures than anything else makes a difference out here. Yeah, probably around the 30 mark, maybe a little less in the front, but we've also got like a massive jump section out in the open, and we want to keep speed for that, so probably going to keep it up high, which is, you know, around the 30s, so I probably won't go much lower than that for sure. Yeah, so we've got the new Tidal red bars. We put in the silver stem, which is the new chrome stuff, which is sick. Kind of matches the crown forks there. And then we got the seat, which is just like the most comfy freeride bike park seat, and the carbon seat post, which is pretty sick. And yeah, I'm just stoked on the setup at the moment, and like mixing about and trying different rises with the bars. Like I run them quite high as a rise, but I quite like it like that because the rest of the frame's quite low down. So it's a little bit of an upright feeling, but a lot of space.
Nice.
Yeah, it's sick.
Next up here, we've got Louise Ferguson, one of the newest nuke-proof riders and first-time rider here at Red Bull Formation. So run us through this little machine you got.
So I've got my nuke-proof Descent, which is size medium, and mullet wheels, which is pretty cool, kind of like a do-it-all downhill bike. And the Michelin tires, I'm running the downhill 22s. So they're like heaps of grip, back and front. I've got my SRAM RSC brakes, so all that stopping power for the steeps.
The Michelin tires, what sort of pressures are you running out here in the desert, especially compared to your downhill racing background?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The pressure in the front is 28 and the rear is 31.
Nice.
So yeah, they're pretty pumped up. And the tires are quite beefy, so they're the downhill ones, which means I shouldn't get any flats up here, but I get a lot of grip as well.
Nice. So hopefully no flats, but are you running inserts? You going tubeless, tubes?
Tubes? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Tubeless and no inserts. No inserts yet. They've been holding up pretty good in Queenstown, which is super rough. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the setup. I've got loads of confidence in my tires.
You've got the nuke-proof rims as well, and just running the alloy there.
Yeah, just alloy, nuke-proof rims and the Horizon hubs. I've got nuke-proof pedals as well, the Sam Hills. So I've never ran clips before.
That's pretty badass. And Sam Hill's your teammate, you know, foot out, flat out.
Yeah.
I do have to ask though, medium frame, you're just a wee little thing.
Yeah, so I went medium. I'm you can go small as well. So Nukeproof's got small, medium, large, extra large. I think I'm just like more comfortable with the racing, like a do-it-all bike. For the Freeride, a lot of the girls have smaller bikes and even 26-inch wheels, which is pretty interesting. I actually put a 400 coil on the back instead of 350, which seems to be going good. It's like a nice compromise. Some of the girls are running like 500, and I slowed my rebound, not all the way, but quite a lot, and 20 psi more in the forks.
Have you ever been out to the desert or seen or ridden terrain like this?
Oh no. It was crazy when we turned up. Everyone was like trying to point out some features and stuff, and I honestly couldn't see what was rideable. It was really like almost overwhelming, but in the best kind of way. It's my first year, so I didn't want to take on too much, but I am like excited and nervous for some of the features.
Let's talk about the cockpit a bit, because it looks a little high on the front end with the 29er wheel and all that. So how does that kind of suit your riding?
Yeah, I just I tried some flat bars before and it just didn't quite gel so much. I think what I ride, I like the steep stuff in Queenstown, so I think the higher front end just makes me feel really comfortable. I've been changing up the grips, trying to find like the right ones for me. So usually I just run them until I can feel the bars. Yeah, and then actually steamed up the brakes a little bit, because I guess the terrain here, especially the drop-ins and stuff, it's like pretty straight down.
Well, we are stoked to have you here this week, and we can't wait to see what you create and you get to ride out there. So good luck, Lou. Joining us now, we have got Cami Nogueira and this super fresh common Saal. She's pretty happy about it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, this is my bike. I'm super stoked. It's my first year with Marsochi, and I really like it already. Marsochi suspensions, it's a small frame, box, transmission, and E13 cranks and wheels. They're carbon, and one up, handlebars and stem. So I'm stoked. I really like it.
What size wheels are you running out here in the desert, Cami?
27.5, yeah, for both wheels. So yeah, I use a lot of pressure actually for here, like 35 psi. So it's a lot compared racing or Viper. And also in the suspension, I try to use a lot of air, and I changed my spring for this in the shock. I use a 500, and in general I use a 400. So yes, more stiff now.
Big hits. We're going for big hits. Cami's got some big things lined up this week for us. And some of your other new sponsors this year, you want to dig deeper there?
I have TRP brakes, that they're really good. I'm stoked about that. And all the rest is the same as last year.
I noticed you run a little bit of a lower front end than some of the other girls, especially because you've got the 27.5 wheel up there. So how's that kind of play to your advantage, the lower bar and the front end?
So actually I was using it like this because we were doing jumps 2 days ago, but probably I'm going to change it because my line is super steep. So yeah, I'm going to change it, that for sure.
How wide are you running your bars these days?
Yeah, I use always 760. Yeah.
So she's a little bit wider than some of the other girls, but I think that's probably just what you're used to, right? And the E13 cranks, are those carbon too?
Yes, they're carbon cranks. Yes, I really like it.
We might as well touch a little bit on your box drivetrain here. I haven't seen a whole lot of that around here, so how's that going?
No, I'm pretty happy with them. They're designing a new one for this year, so these ones are the last ones, but they're really good and they're super stiff and durable, so I'm really happy with that.
Yeah,
it's good.
From up here you can see it's like really tucked into the frame a bit, which is nice when you're going through those tiny little cracks up there.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, well, you nailed that bike check, Cami. Thanks for being so efficient for us, and get back up there. All right, we're wrapping up our big dig days out here on course. Next up joining us, we've got Sam Soriano and her Canyon Torque. So give us a little rundown of your machine.
So obviously I'm riding the Canyon Torque CF with my fun little custom purple logos. I'm running Marzocchi suspension, 58, and something slightly different for the rear shock region. Stay tuned for that.
All right, you've got some of the most eye-catching wheels out here. Tell us about those.
I mean, a girl has to accessorize, what can I tell you? And Industry 9, the only way to go for those accessories. I am running the Industry 9 Enduro 305 and with my custom color pattern that is equipped with the Hydra hub, best in the biz.
You're good at this. She's selling hubs, she's selling colorful spokes out here. What sort of tires do you want to sell us next?
Maxxis, Astil, front and rear, DH casing, 30 PSI, front and rear. Well, sometimes 30 PSI. Could change depending on how our course goes this week.
All right, that's impressive. We got the smallest girl out on course. Potentially, I don't know, it might be you, might be Louise, but 30 PSI, they're going big. I've seen your step down out there. What are some of the other notable features on your bike, Sam?
I think the most defining feature of my bike is obviously my boobs roll top cap by Sensus Grips. I mean, you can't go wrong with the boobs roll, and especially out in formation, we are women empowerment.
How about those grips? Even the grip lock rings match the pedals.
You know, I value accessorization on the bike, so I'm running the Sensus lights with my purple lock-ons. The only grips that I run, little hands, but you're getting support and really no arm pump. And they have to match my Raceface Atlas pedals, which are additionally also purple. I guess up to the top, I'm running the Atlas Raceface bars with the Atlas direct mount stem. I have those cut to 760.
Very nice, she's precise. Downhill, wide, getting shreddy. You live very close, right?
I do live
so
close.
Do you change your bike much for riding the course, do you think? Or you're like pretty comfy with your settings?
I think I'm pretty comfy with my settings. Like this is my favorite site to ride just because this is like the go-to site. So I'm pretty much like I'm mid compression on my rear shock, mid rebound as well. And then for my fork, mid compression as well. Kind of slower on the rebound. Like we've left the racing scene. We're going for a slower rebound. But yeah, and then 195 in the rear shock and then 55 up front.
Nice, keeping it still supple, but I imagine there's just all the tokens you can cram down in there.
Yeah, obviously, tokens for life.
This is Freeride, people. Well, as far as accessories go, I think your bike might actually take the cake on this one. So thank you so much for giving us some time, and we're stoked to see you riding this week.
Absolutely, thank you. Stoked for the week ahead.
Yeah.